Hello and welcome to this online public information center for the City of Mississauga's Cooksville Creek Erosion Control Project at Camilla Road. We invite you to view this presentation, which is approximately 20 minutes in length, or download a copy of the slide presentation and transcript from the links below. If, after viewing the information presented here, you have any questions or comments to provide the study team, please fill out our comment form below by May 4th, 2022. If you have any problems accessing the materials or would like to speak to a member of the study team, contact information is provided at the end of this presentation. The Cooksville Creek Erosion Project at Camilla Road is being completed as a Schedule B Municipal Class Environmental Assessment Study, otherwise known as a Municipal Class EA. Through the City of Mississauga's ongoing erosion monitoring program, a small section of Cooksville Creek at Camilla Road has been identified as requiring rehabilitation or restoration. Therefore, the purpose of this study is to identify and evaluate, through the Class EA process, a range of design options or alternatives for upgrading the existing channel to address ongoing erosion issues and provide an opportunity to naturalize the site. The purpose of this Public Information Center, or PIC, is to present the study information and provide an opportunity for those interested in this project to provide their input. Specifically, this presentation will provide study background information and describe the proposed alternatives for the restoration of Cooksville Creek, outline how each alternative or option was evaluated, recommend a preferred alternative, share our anticipated timeline of upcoming steps, and provide contact information so that you can submit comments or questions. Cooksville Creek originates in the industrial area north of Highway 403 before flowing through the study area and eventually to Lake Ontario at Helen Malasey Park. The study area is shown in the image on the right. This section of Cooksville Creek on both sides of Camilla Road is approximately 200 meters in length and was lined with concrete or stone-filled gabion basket walls about 30 to 40 years ago. The photos at the bottom, from left to right, show the concrete-lined channel west of Camilla Road, the bridge over the channel at Camilla Road, and the concrete wall and gabion basket wall east of Camilla Road. The city has identified this section of Cooksville Creek as a high-priority site in need of rehabilitation or restoration. As seen in the previous photographs, this section of the creek is entirely channelized via a trapezoidal or flat-bottomed concrete channel or lined with concrete and gabion baskets. These gabion baskets have failed and the channel walls are slumping and undermined. The concrete-lined channel also has a fractured bed and banks, meaning the concrete has cracked. There is also a large buildup of sediment, debris, and vegetation growth obstructing the channel, further reducing its ability to properly drain surface water to Lake Ontario. The deteriorating channel poses a potential risk to infrastructure, private property, and the environment. However, there is an opportunity to rehabilitate or replace the channel to mitigate or reduce the potential risks. Project objectives include providing long-term erosion protection compatible with the creek, maintaining the hydraulic capacity of the creek, replacing the hardened creek bed and banks with more natural forms of erosion and grade control, providing environmental enhancements and improving fish habitat and fish passage, decreasing the risk of property and infrastructure loss, and reducing the city's maintenance costs. This study is following the Municipal Class EA process. The Class EA is a decision-making and planning process that ensures that potential effects of a project are identified and managed prior to implementation. The Class EA process applies to routine public sector projects that have predictable and manageable environmental effects, such as municipal road, water, and wastewater projects. The process requires the identification and evaluation of possible alternative solutions and design concepts, and recommends the best approach based on the evaluation. The Class EA study is undertaken in accordance with the requirements of the Ontario Environmental Assessment Act as prescribed by the Municipal Engineers Association Municipal Class EA document, The Municipal Class EA classifies projects based on their type and anticipated extent of potential environmental impacts. This study is classified as a Schedule B project and will address the requirements of Phases 1 and 2 of the Municipal Class EA process. Phase 1 of the Municipal Class EA process requires identification of the problem or opportunity. This is known as the problem or opportunity statement, which we've already seen on slide 4. Phase 2 involves identification of alternative solutions to address the problem or opportunity, an inventory of existing conditions, identification and evaluation of potential impacts that each alternative may have after mitigation measures have been applied, and identification of a recommended solution. As shown by the red arrow, this online public information center represents the required consultation noted in the yellow box. Following the close of this PIC timing window on May 4th, the study team will review and confirm the preferred solution and choice of the Municipal Class EA schedule. The results will be documented in a comprehensive report called the project file. A notice of completion will be published to advise review agencies and the public of when and how the project file may be reviewed. If no order requests are received within 30 days of the notice of completion publication date, the project may proceed to implementation. Existing infrastructure along Cooksville Creek includes a 3-cell culvert as part of the bridge at Camilla Road with an overflow cell along the south bank. This is shown in photographs 1 and 2. The culvert appears to be in good condition, but sediment and debris has begun to accumulate within the structure. Upstream, or west, of Camilla Road, the channel consists of a trapezoidal or flat-bottomed concrete structure in poor condition. This is shown in photograph 2. Downstream, or east of Camilla Road, the creek has banks that transition from a concrete vertical wall to a gabion basket wall. This is shown in photograph 3. As shown in photograph 4, the gabion baskets have either failed or are at risk of failure due to undermining along the bank. The nearby Hydro 1 corridor is outside the study area. Regarding existing natural or environmental conditions, Cooksville Creek outlets into Lake Ontario at Port Credit. Cooksville Creek is classified as a warm water watercourse that may provide limited fish habitat, although no fish were observed during field surveys and fish habitat is limited due to channel design. Treed vegetation is dominated by dead or dying ash trees, as well as willows, Manitoba maple, and Norway maple. Invasive species include European buckthorn, garlic mustard, European common reed, and Japanese knotweed. No species at risk were observed in the study area during field investigations, although some are known to be present in the general area. There is also no confirmed significant wildlife habitat known in the study area. Regarding existing socio-cultural conditions, this section of Cooksville Creek backs onto low, medium, and high-density residential areas east and west of Camilla Road. The majority of the channel is located on lands either owned by the city or for which the city has easements for creek improvement purposes. Camilla Road itself is a minor collector road with dedicated bicycle lanes identified by signs and pavement markings. As part of the field investigations completed for this study, a preliminary or Stage 1 archaeological assessment determined that a small part of the study area east of Camilla Road retains archaeological potential and requires a Stage 2 investigation. This area is shown in purple in the image on the right. Test pitting by hand will be required to confirm no archaeological resources exist in this area. Test pitting is tentatively scheduled for May 2022. The Ontario Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, or MECP, has notified the city that this proposed project may have the potential to affect Aboriginal or treaty rights protected under Canada's Constitution Act of 1982. The following 4 communities were identified as potentially affected: the Haudenosaunee Confederacy Chiefs Council, the Huron-Wendat Nation, the the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Six Nations of the Grand River. These communities have been notified of this project. To date, correspondence has been received from the Huron-Wendat Nation and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Both wish to be involved in the study, including in future archaeological investigations. Also of note is that recent amendments to Ontario's Environmental Assessment Act state that an order or bump-up request will only be considered by the Ministry if the project impacts constitutionally protected Aboriginal or treaty rights. Requests on other grounds will not be considered. As part of Phase 2 of the Municipal Class EA process, 4 different alternative solutions were developed and evaluated. 1. Do nothing. 2. Local improvements. 3. Reach scale improvements. And 4. Natural channel restoration. Alternative 1, or do nothing, means exactly that. There would be no changes to the existing channel. This alternative is required as per the Municipal Class EA. It is used for comparison purposes when evaluating the other alternatives. If nothing were done, the channel will continue to degrade and increase risk to adjacent properties and infrastructure. No environmental benefit could be provided. Alternative 2 includes local improvements or spot treatments along the channel at strategic locations to limit the impact of erosion. The drawing shows where this would include filling or repairing of the cracks and scours in the concrete west of Camilla Road and replacement of the failed gabion basket walls east of Camilla Road. Treatments east of Camilla Road would also include replacement of the leaning interlocking retaining wall and chain link fence with a new protective stone wall or vegetated slope. There would be no change to the alignment of the channel. The Camilla Road bridge would also remain as it is currently, as would the existing concrete wall east of Camilla Road. Alternative 3 includes reach scale improvements or treatments that would extend to the existing top of bank and maintain the existing channel alignment. The drawing shows where this would include replacement of the concrete channel with an armor stone lined channel and channel improvements west of Camilla Road, and replacement of the failed gabion basket walls east of Camilla Road. Like Alternative 2, improvements east of Camilla Road would also include replacement of the leaning interlocking retaining wall and chain link fence with a new protective stone wall or vegetated slope. Like Alternative 2, there would be no change to the alignment of the channel. The Camilla Road bridge would also remain as it is currently, as would the existing concrete wall east of Camilla Road. Alternative 4, natural channel restoration, includes stream restoration to a more naturalized form. An example is shown in the image entitled Natural Channel Concept and the photograph entitled Natural Channel Example. This alternative would require the full width of the city's easements on both sides of Camilla Road in order to incorporate both the channel's meander and bank protection. The failed gabion basket walls would be replaced with a combination of new MSE or mechanically stabilized earth walls and sloping vegetated walls. The Camilla Road bridge would remain as it is currently, as would the existing concrete wall east of Camilla Road. The alternative solutions were evaluated against a set of evaluation criteria grouped according to the following 4 categories: technical or engineering, natural environment, social or cultural environment, and economic. The evaluation criteria listed here were applied to each alternative solution to identify potential impacts or opportunities. These potential effects were comparatively evaluated to identify a preferred alternative or preliminary preferred solution, which best satisfies the problem or opportunity statement and provides the best long-term solution for the City of Mississauga. The evaluation matrix shown here and on the following 2 slides describes the potential effects associated with each evaluation criteria for each of the 4 alternative solutions. For example, if we look at the first criterion, the ability to maintain hydraulic capacity, or in other words, maintain the flow of water, the do-nothing alternative will result in the continued decline of the channel's capacity due to the failure of the gabion basket walls, ongoing degradation of the concrete lining the channel, and continued accumulation of debris and sediment. For this reason, the do-nothing alternative is the least preferred option when considering hydraulic capacity. Alternative 2 is moderately preferred because although debris and sediment will continue to accumulate, replacement of the failing gabion basket walls and leaning interlocking wall will result in some improvement to hydraulic capacity. Both alternatives 3 and 4, however, are more preferred because channel restoration or naturalization and debris removal will restore hydraulic function. So, if we were only interested in improving the hydraulic capacity of the channel, alternatives 3 or 4 would provide the best solution. But there are other criteria to consider, both in this technical category and in the others. If you would like to review the evaluation matrix in detail, please download a PDF copy of this presentation from the links below. In summary, from a technical or engineering perspective, Alternative 3, reach scale improvements, is slightly preferred over alternatives 2 or 4 because it is more preferred for 3 of the 4 criteria. From a natural environmental perspective, shown partially here on this slide and continuing on to the next, Alternative 4, natural channel restoration, is slightly more preferred over Alternative 3. On this slide, you can see that the alternatives 3 and 4 are equally preferred from both an aquatic habitat opportunity and impact perspective, but an alternative 4 is more preferred from the perspective of terrestrial habitat opportunities. This makes sense because a more natural watercourse provides the highest benefit to wildlife. Continuing the natural environmental evaluation, however, we can see that alternatives 3 and 4 are equally but more preferred than alternatives 1 or 2. From a socio-cultural perspective, alternative 3 is more preferred primarily because there would be no loss of private property to adjacent lands, but also because the proposed improvements would match or provide consistency with the rest of the channel both up and downstream of the site. And finally, from an economic perspective, you can see that both alternatives 2 and 3 are equally preferred. Alternative 2 would have a relatively lower capital costs, meaning the cost of construction, but higher operation and maintenance costs, whereas Alternative 3 would have relatively higher construction costs, but lower operation and maintenance costs. In summary, when we consider the comparative evaluation as a whole, Alternative 3, reach scale improvements, is more preferred over the other alternatives. Key features of Alternative 3 are that it provides a moderately natural and green solution, it minimizes the required disturbance area and vegetation removal, it reduces erosion risks, it promotes the removal of debris in the channel, and it improves fish habitat and passage through the watercourse. There will be no loss to private property tableland, relatively moderate capital or construction costs and low future maintenance costs, and it will blend with the existing erosion protection surrounding the site. Here we can see the preferred alternative as it is proposed. On the west side of Camilla Road, or on the left side of the drawing, the black hatched lines indicate where the existing concrete channel will be replaced with an armor stone channel, similar to the photograph on the previous slide. Work will be contained within the city's existing easements, shown by the white or light gray shaded areas. The exception is at 2100 Camilla Road, where the city does not currently have an easement, but is in discussions to acquire one. If an easement at 2100 Camilla Road cannot be acquired, the project could still proceed, but no improvements would be made on private property. The Camilla Road Bridge will remain as is, as will the concrete retaining wall east of Camilla Road that backs onto the homes off Pathfinder Drive. On the east side of Camilla Road, or the right side of the drawing, the leaning interlocking retaining wall and chain link fence located on city property will be replaced with either a stone wall or vegetated slope. The gabion basket walls will be replaced, the channel cleaned up, and weirs, or very small dam-like structures, added within the channel to provide low-flow backwatering and an improvement to fish habitat. Following the conclusion of this online public information center on May 4th, the study team will review and consider all comments received. If the preliminary preferred alternative presented here is confirmed as the preferred solution based on the public and agency feedback received, the team will then finalize the preliminary design and consider opportunities for construction phasing to maximize existing infrastructure life cycles. The project file report will be completed, as will the Stage 2 archaeological investigations, and a notice of study completion will be published to advise where and when the project file report will be made available for a 30-day public review period. The notice will be sent to those on the study mailing list and published on the project website. If no issues are raised during those 30 days that cannot be resolved, the project will proceed to detailed design. Any agency-specific permits or approvals will then be applied for, and construction is tentatively scheduled for 2024. If you wish to remain involved in this study, please complete a comment form available in the links below and request that your name or email is added to the project mailing list. Alternatively, you may email questions or comments to one of our study team members or check this project website for updates. We ask that you please submit all questions or comments by May 4th, 2022. For more information or to speak with a study representative, please contact either Anthony or Mark using the email addresses or phone numbers below. On behalf of the City of Mississauga, we thank you for your interest in this study.